Officially halfway through this NBA season for your Toronto Raptors, and they get a much-needed win. 2 wins in a row, 132-120 over the Charlotte Hornets. And the story of this game came in the fourth quarter, and it was the return of the 3 ball as Fred VanVleet and OG Anunoby stuck a couple that were very needed. Sherm Hamilton, special guest appearance from Raptors Tonight's Randy Urban on Raptors Today. Big deal. Welcome to the family.
I just slept at the other studio.
Did the night shift, and you're here to do the day shift.
I did some of the dishes in the back of the bar there.
Hard work.
It's about time you worked.
Okay. We have 2 conflicting stories. He doesn't work. He does work. Let's find out. Let's put him under the microscope right now and talk about it. The Toronto Raptors had the 3-ball return. How different does this season play out if this team can continue to shoot like they did halfway through that fourth quarter to stretch out that lead?
Well, if you can play the Hornets every night, then your shooting just comes back.
This week,
defense,
that's happening.
They do not play defense. This is just a team that it felt like a pickup game out there for me. So it allows you to get a lot of open shots, allows you to get shots in rhythm. Now, I don't think they can shoot this well, obviously, every game, but this is a little bit more where I think they can be, right? They can progress back to the mean. They're below the mean right now, where they're traditionally shooting. A lot of guys shooting below their career averages, and this is more like what they can do.
20 for 44, best shooting night, 3-point wise for the team.
Like if you make 14 threes, 15 threes, 16 threes, this team is hard to beat.
Yeah, and I think that, this team hasn't been shooting well, and the questions were, how do they get better shooting? Well, this is a better shooting team than they actually have been showing throughout the course of this season. You look at everybody that made threes, and obviously OG Anunoby was on fire, but they were never as bad of a shooting team as they statistically showed throughout the beginning of the season. I don't think so. They've never been that bad. So the fact that they were able to make threes, obviously Charlotte's a team that struggles.
A sieve.
Yeah, they struggle defensively. But again, if you're the Raptors, you're doing Raptor things to get those threes. It's not like you're depending on bad defense to get those threes. You're creating scenarios that help you play the way you want to play, that is going to allow you to get threes regardless of the opponent. So, I mean, you're like Randy said, you're not going to get 20 threes a night, but they're a better shooting, 3-point shooting team than 10 threes per night. So I think that they can get better, and they will get better, and they're healthy. And as of yesterday, that's kind of their roster now, right? I mean, Otto Porter's gone for the season. This is their roster for the foreseeable future until a change is made. So now you're as healthy as you're going to be all season long. I think we're going to see this team shoot the ball better.
And they're generating good shots, though, Sherman. Those games that they do make, sometimes single digits in threes, the shot quality is actually pretty high. So it wasn't just about, the porous defense of the Charlotte Hornets. It's just sometimes just about, all right, getting out of a shooting slump. You probably were never in a shooting slump.
I've been in one my whole life.
You're in a never-ending shooting slump, a perpetual shooting slump, and I'm a bit streaky.
I'm just helping with the word. I'm not saying that's what I feel.
I was struggling there.
Yeah. Let's talk about
his vocabulary is very good.
Yes. The well-educated and well-dressed Sherm Hamilton here to support us. But let's talk about the Raptors support system, the 1-2 punch of Boucher and Achua. Because let's face it, one of the not so successful. Are you guys having fun?
You just said, "How's your hair?" I'm like, "What am I supposed to say to that? How's yours?" Like,
my hair is great every day.
Okay,
consistency is the key.
Next week we'll bring everyone's individual barber on the show and we'll break it down. But let's talk about the bench.
He is me and I am him.
That's true. That is true. He takes care of it himself. Let's talk about the bench. Boucher and Achua, the 1-2 punch, finally healthy and available for Nick Nurse, and that changes things tremendously, Sherm, for what this team can do.
Big time. And this is something that we talked about all season long. The fact is, when they have a bench that provides that punch or that lift or that at least maintain the level, at the very least maintain, now you have a bench that you can rely on for consistency. And Chris Boucher was that for Nick Nurse earlier in the season. He was playing at such a high clip, scoring, rebounding, energy, defense. He was bringing it all. But I thought, Chris and Precious had a great synergy at the beginning of the season when Precious was healthy. And I thought we saw that finally come to fruition again against Charlotte. And it's not about just the scoring. Yeah, Precious made some threes. That was great. But he did make some plays earlier in the game that he was trying to force it, and it didn't work out well. But the energy that both of them play with, that relentless persistence of the ball on the glass, the defensive presence, the ability to block, alter shots, run the floor, even if you're not getting the ball. I just thought that they have some kind of synergy, And it works when they're playing at that level, and their bench, to me, becomes maybe not the best bench in the league, but becomes a bench to contend with, and a bench that Nick Nurse doesn't have to rush to throw his starters back in the game. He can sprinkle them in here or there, but the minute control becomes better when the bench is playing at a higher clip.
Yeah, and I love the way Precious plays because, I think back to the Philadelphia playoff series last year, and in 2 separate possessions, back-to-back possessions, he guards Joel Embiid, gets a stop, guards James Harden on the next one and gets a stop. So he's one of my favorite guys to just watch on the floor. And what I do want a little bit more from him, and you got it from Chris Boucher last night, was the rebounding, 7 rebounds. But I look at Precious, and I love his threes, just like you said. The scoring's a bonus, but the energy I want to see all the time, and I want to see a little bit more rebounding. And if those guys can give you, 12 to 15 rebounds combined per night, they had about 9 last night, that is a potent rebounding back front court coming into your second unit. And I think that gives them a huge advantage in any game going forward. So, yes, the scoring's great. Yes, the energy's great. But if he just rebounds just a little bit more, man, it's going to be hard to take him off the floor. And that's what Nick Nurse has talked about. Can we leave him? I want to be able to leave him on the floor for 20 to 25 minutes. And if he rebounds like that, definitely.
That'll help him spell the starters and make the team all the more efficient.
For sure.
All right, well, time to hand it off to our bench, and that is Savannah Hamilton with her breakdown from last night's game.
Well, the story of the night is definitely how strong the bench came out, but we got to give credit where credit is due, and that is Pascal Siakam, because he finished with 28 points and 8 rebounds, and he set the tone early. I believe he set that tone so the bench had rhythm to come into the game in the first place. He was doing a mixture of things between jumpers and getting to the lane, but then also knocking down an early 3-point shot, which also created that rhythm around the rim as well. So you got to give him his flowers for tonight's game, of course, but let's take a higher level look at his performance so far this season. It's tough. All-Star voting is coming in. He has to be up there in those ranks of being considered one of the best. That's one of his goals. He had that lofty goal of being a top 5 player this season, and it still hasn't left his mind, of course, but All-Star is something that is along the way of coming to that point that he wants, right? So it's important to go out and vote for him in that sense, but don't forget that this guy is the same guy that dropped 52 points in the Garden recently, and he definitely deserves it, despite the fact that he did have to take some time away due to his injury that he had against Dallas earlier this season. But needless to say, he's playing incredible basketball, and tonight was another reflection of that. Back to you, Akil.
That's right, Sav. Do remember, Raptors fans, you can vote for your Toronto Raptors All-Star, and that is Pascal Siakam in the NBA app and on NBA.com. So get out and vote early and often, because it's a tough job to get inside that starting lineup with someone's going to be disappointed, whether it's Tatum and Embiid. Someone's going to be disappointed when it comes to All-Star starting, for sure.
Yeah, Giannis, Durant, Tatum, and Embiid are the top 4 in that front court.
And
3
Pascal.
of them can start, and Pascal, the top 5.
Yeah.
And 3 of them can start.
Two guys are going to go home unhappy. Now, let's talk about a strange play from yesterday at the 8-minute mark in the first quarter. We had an 11th player made available, and that is one of our refs, as a long outlet pass bounced off. The question is, was he out of bounds or not? But is this legal? I'm not as familiar with the rule book as you, Sherm. Should this have counted? Luckily, it worked out for the Raptors with the 3 on the other end.
Well, the official on the court is a part of the court.
Okay.
So he or she is now inbounds and live. That's why they try to stay outside the lines, because if the ball makes contact with them, then it's definitely out of bounds. This play, the official was in bounds. The ball made contact, the official was in bounds, so the play continues, and it's unfortunate for the Raptors because Charlotte was able to capitalize. But we've seen this happen before.
Oh, this happens quite a bit.
We've seen it happen before.
Yeah,
the ball hits an official, creates a turnover for a team. The team goes the other way and scores. The official's in play because the official is on the court. And that's why you got to be aware. If you're a player, that ball touches the official, make a play.
Yeah.
Let them stop the play. Let another official stop the play and say, no, ball's out of bounds off the official. But you continue to play.
Yeah,
Play the whistle.
Play until you hear the whistle. That's happened, I think, more often than probably people give it credit for. You've probably thrown a pass or 2 off a ref.
Why is it always got to be me?
Purpose.
Why is it always got to be me?
On purpose.
I don't know that you're known for your passing, Randy.
What are you talking about? I'm a willing passer.
Is that on the scouting
Wait,
report?
Yeah.
Willing, but he couldn't
Willing.
say able.
No, willing.
hesitancy
And
is
He didn't say able. He just said willing.
I'll put it on the numbers if I put it anywhere.
All right, easy there, Joe Montana. Right now, let's hear from the players. Let's head off the player sounds.
How about hit the hands?
Hey, man, let's have a party. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to even itself out one way or another. So, you never want to trend too far downwards. But I thought the last couple games, we've been shooting the ball well other than the Milwaukee game. But just keep working the offense and try to create good shots, and there's just more rhythm and energy, to the offense and the way that we're sharing the ball now. So, you expect some of those to go down at a higher clip, or you would hope. A lot of defensive intensity and effort there around the rim and just making stuff hard and then get out in transition and put pressure on the rim. So, we got to keep growing that group and keep getting them experience playing together and getting more feel and more flow. I thought that they've done a great job the last 2 games and had some good practices, some good shoot-arounds, and had some good carryovers. So, got to continue to grow, and I think, the more they play well, the more leash they'll get, and that's how you grow, that bench unit, and we're going to need those guys. So I thought they did a great job again tonight. It's a good spot for him. I think, obviously with that group that we got, he can do a lot of different things, but if they're going to sag off of him, just being able to play next action off of him and let him play make from there versus, having him bring the ball up and try to organize the offense. He's already catching in a playmaking position at, the short roll, 17 feet. So he's a great passer. He knows the reads, and he's been setting good screens and just making plays. So, he had another 7 assists tonight, no turnovers. So that's great. That's great for him, and we're going to need him to do that.
And even before, like I said, I barely played at the beginning of the season. Just games in terms of games played, and I was trying to get my rhythm at the beginning of the season. Then I got hurt, so just being able to get back into my rhythm felt great. Just got to continue building on that, So.
How do you feel with where you're at right now?
I mean, I'm confident. I'm confident where I'm at right now. I think I'm getting my rhythm back, which is the most important thing for me, and I believe for the team as well. I think that second unit coming out there, the guys coming out, we just got to be able to find our rhythm, and I think we did today. Myself, Chris, Malachi, I think we did a great job in terms of, impacting the game in our own way.
What was the mentality kind of coming into this one, and how were you guys able to execute?
We knew they like to play in transition. We knew they play really fast, and they're really talented. So just try to force them difficult shots and just try to get stops and run out ourselves.
How impressed were you with, of course, the contributions from the bench today? Boucher and Precious both had some solid, both defensive and offensive contributions.
I think, they played great. I think Juancho, Malachi, Christian, they played great too. So. Yeah, doing what they're capable of. They're great players, so I'm not surprised.
How do you encourage that level of consistency from your teammates? How do you make sure that they can repeat that again?
I don't it's just once they do it once, they can do it again. So that's how I feel. So I always just try to make sure they know that, and they do know that. They know they're capable of. So.
And, of course, everybody knows you as a great defender, but when you have nights like these when you're hitting the 3, how important is that for you to showcase your shot, too?
Oh, yeah, I just try to hunt threes. I know I'm a great shooter, so I'm just going to keep shooting them.
I don't think I saw anything different. Every time I just check on the court, I'm just trying to bring some energy. I think, like I said last time, for us to be a good team, we have to have a good bench. So every time I step on the court, I'm just trying to bring that energy and just try to do my job.
What did you see from, your vets like Boucher and then also Precious, playing well off of each other?
Precious the vet?
Oh, I don't know if he's a vet yet. He doesn't get that yet, but he's older than you, so there you go.
Okay. I think it was nice having them do the job they did today. I think Precious hit a couple of threes today, and Priest hit a couple of threes, and they were playing extremely good defense. I think that's what we need from them, and I think, like I said, every time we're going to do that as a bench, as the bench, as a group, we're going to have the starters. I feel like they played less minutes today, and we can see when they came back in the game, and they did a really good job.
Well, Raptors fans can stop holding their breath in anticipation for the return of Otto Porter Jr. because the news is no return this year. Expect him to return when he opts into that extra year of the contract. But Otto Porter Jr. opting for surgery, set down for the year. So it's not about what we missed, but it is kind of about you never got to see this roster come to fruition with the injuries and now with Otto Porter out. What does this do for the team now moving forward, knowing that they're not going to be able to bring in someone that they thought could help bolster this bench as they move into the second half, Sherm?
I think it brings some some sort of a conclusion. You know what I mean? A finality to this is the roster.
And that's not always a bad
Yeah,
thing.
you're not looking for somebody else to come back and their skill set and how it impacts what you're doing. This is it. It's unfortunate for Otto. I mean, when he played, you could see he does some really good things in terms of playing without the basketball, being able to shoot. He's a good rebounding guard. He's a smart player. Championship pedigree. He's got all of that stuff. You look at his numbers, and I think in 8 games, it doesn't really reflect what he can do over the course of a season. But sometimes, like, that finality to, okay, this is what we have right now. Until something changes, this is it. It helps the coaches prepare differently. It helps the players prepare differently. And it just brings to me that level of consistency that you've been looking for all season long that you haven't been able to have. Now you have it with the group you have. You can build off of that.
Yeah, there's a bit of an inkling the other day when someone asked Coach Nick Nurse about, is he close? And he just said nope. And I was like, oh, okay, this is not a good situation. And it's a real shame because in my mind, he had probably the purest jump shot on the team. It looks good. It's tried, it's tested, it's true. He's made a lot of big shots. The Raptors have seen him make a lot of big shots against them when he was a Washington Wizard. And, of course, the championship pedigree that you talked about, this is just a guy that was going to help if he was healthy. And I know it's the finality and the conclusion. It's great to move on, but it's a shame because he was exactly what they needed. Somebody to stick in the corner and bury that shot, somebody to come off a screen at the wing and bury a shot. And you didn't see, like you mentioned, the numbers don't do his game justice, but you did see glimpses of what he could have provided. And it's a real shame. You never want to see a guy get injured. And it's just another one of those guys like, oh, what could have been with him healthy for the whole season.
And then he brings that X factor, that know-how,
Championship
been there,
pedigree.
done that, experienced at all levels. That kind of know-how for a team like this becomes that much more important in situations. So that's a loss beyond the actual X's and O's part of it. Just that I know what to do in these situations. That's a loss.
Like a Thaddeus Young type guy that can, bring people together, a glue guy, and then, of course, shoot the ball. And when you shoot the ball, that just brings everybody together.
Raptors front office still have a decision to make on whether or not they will exercise the possible exemption that they have, bring someone in. We don't know how they're going to work with that. But sticking with off-court news, the Toronto Raptors making some noise, and they're taking home some hardware, the NBA Inclusion Leadership Award. Now, this award goes to organizations that do a great job of creating cross-functional inclusion programs that commit to creating meaningful and lasting impact for communities facing barriers. Now, we've all had a chance to be inside the building at Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment with the Toronto Raptors, and we've seen the face of this organization change with their leadership group, the roster, but definitely things they do away from the court, like we talk about the Creators Program, the Wayne Embry Fellowship. Randy, you've been able to cover these things through Open Gym. How different is this organization in its approach to welcoming in all these different groups and creating opportunities for people who weren't really able to access the game at this level?
Yeah, I mean, inclusion is the most amazing thing in the world. This is what makes this city such a great city, where everybody from all walks of life can congregate and be cohesive and work together to create a great product. And what the Embry Foundation Fellowship has done is brought in just a lot of great people, and you see the fruits of their labor. These guys, these men and women, all have jobs after.
Yep. This Scouting department, front office.
You are finding great people, and I think anytime you can open it up to more diverse groups of people, it can't be a bad thing,
Yeah, and I think it boils down to leadership, and obviously Wayne Embry, he's a great human being.
Titan.
I mean, he's an amazing man. And then Masai Ujiri. I mean, both these gentlemen have done a great job really pushing the envelope in those regards, and we're seeing all the fruits of it.
Yep, one of the fruits of that, of course, is expanding the organization out to the 905 in Mississauga.
Great vision.
And we've got a hit from our guys Matt Cullen and Warren Ward, who were there after the 905 split a pair.
All right, thanks very much, Akil. It's a 123-116 tonight for the Capital City Go-Go over the Raptors 905. They split this mini two-game set in Mississauga after the 905 won last night. Two very tight ball games, though. McCurr Maker, the Capital City Go-Go star with a career night, spent some time in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario in prep school. He brought his best stuff north of the border here for this one.
And he did it coming off the bench, so, you got to tip your hat to that. He dominated this game, 28 points, 13 big rebounds, and a bunch of thunderous dunks as we saw there as one of them. Couple alley-oop plays as well. So he was everywhere tonight. Like I said, he dominated the 905 in a multitude of ways, and he didn't force the game, which is what I like the most. He let the game come to him. And on the other side of that, the 905, valiant effort by Reggie Perry, as we saw.
Career highs in points and in rebounds. First career triple-double for McCurr Maker. Reggie Perry had a season-high 37 points, and the 905, who were down at one point by 19, took the lead in the fourth quarter, just couldn't quite hold it.
Couldn't quite hold it. A lot of that due to taking threes, unfortunately, down the stretch. I think 4 of them in a row. But this guy, he started off the bench yesterday, started today, and showed why he deserves that spot. Like you said, Matt, 37 points tonight. And 9 rebounds, and he did it in a variety of different ways. Off the dribble, in the high post area, shooting threes. Complete player. He just needs to put it together and get to that next step, be more of a leader for this group, and I think he showed his leadership today.
So the Raptors 905 will hit the road for 3 games in a row. They are 2-4 on this young NBA G League regular season. All right, Akil, back to you.
Welcome back inside our studios. We welcome back Randy Urban, appearance number 2 on Raptors today, and we got to say
glad I can come back after the last performance.
Yeah, the last performance was great. Doing your best, Mike Fratello. You are the new czar of the telestrator. Let's just throw this clip of some of the analysis we got from Randy the last time he was here.
Player, and when you're a point guard, you don't want to rush it. You don't want to force it. And there's a bit of a wall there, and what Trae Young does as a good point guard would do, he'd pull back, survey the situation. Capella here, I'd like to see him set a better screen on Bogdanovic. Didn't matter because Trae Young's vision is so elite. Finds a guy in the corner who makes it. I don't know who that was. and then Trae Young here. Again, head up. I always tell my kids, head up and you can survey all the court. This time he's got options, 4 different pass options, and this is what makes Trae Young, I think, the greatest of all time at doing this, being able to not tell whether he's going to shoot it or throw up the alley-oop pass. Sure, there's nobody better ever at that, right?
I'm just impressed that you told your kids to keep their head up so they can see the whole court.
And then this is what makes him elite. This is 10,000 hours of basketball, okay? Being able to use your right hand or whatever it is, a lot of hours, not just...
The greatest of all time thrown out in that clip. Also, he had no idea who DeAndre Hunter was.
No, I know who he is. I'm just saying that the screen was so small.
He was so caught up in his eloquent delivery of the breakdown that he didn't see
You
who
laughed
it
at when I said wall.
There was no wall in the video.
It was a bunch of deterrents.
A bunch of deterrents.
Okay, sitting in there. That's good. That's good analysis.
Well, you know what? On that note, we got to take it to some of our favorite
moments.
moments.
Bring in some of your funny clips, Sherm. You just...
Let's take it to some of our favorite moments, or funny moments from this year around the Toronto Raptors on court. All right, so this is Precious getting shook by the fireworks.
Hey, man, get low. You hear something pop, get low.
I'm surprised we're allowed to have indoor fireworks.
Get low.
And then here's Kyle Lowry.
Being Kyle Lowry.
He's working on that Villanova 1-2 connection.
Look how strong Elvin's core is.
Okay.
He was not even moving there.
Shouts out to Adonis's dentist, who's going to have his work cut out for him after the Raptor pretty much tried
He's in heaven right there, though, ain't he?
Yeah, he tried to get him cavity there. And this is World Cup time.
Sherm.
What? Why is it always me? Why am I always... You know what? I tried to help you out, Randy. I'm done. And this is...
42.
Yeah, basically...
Omaha.
Yeah, basically playing quarterback.
What is happening?
56.
How does that work to your advantage?
It doesn't.
Okay.
It absolutely
doesn't.
Was that
a 10-second call, 8-second call?
No, it doesn't. The time doesn't start until you touch the ball.
The clock runs, but the shot clock does not start until you touch the ball.
Shot clock as well.
No advantage gained there.
I mean, obviously I know that.
Even if you ask him what he was doing, I'm pretty sure he has no idea what he was trying to create in that scenario.
The KG Marcus Smart playing the game within the game. Well, that does it for us. Another matchup with the Charlotte Hornets for your Toronto Raptors as they try to get their first 3-game win streak of the season. That goes 7:30. You can catch the TV call on Sportsnet. What's the TV call? You can catch the broadcast. And the radio call on TSN 1050. Randy's contagious. He's spreading his stuff all over the place.
You mean cantankerous?
Whatever, all that too.
Contagious.
Right. That does it for us. Another episode of Raptors Today in the books. We'll see you Friday.
Boy, that's 0 for 2 on the pound.